Hi everybody! So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to do shadow work. Mastering this is very important because in the grand scheme of things, from a higher perspective, there kind of is no shadow, but in order to get there, you must do shadow work because it's in doing the shadow work that the shadow sort of disappears, goes poof. Or it mellows out and you realize it was never a shadow to begin with. And the reason for this is because all of life is oneness in the end. However, because we are humans, because we have a mind that thinks, we see the world in terms of a dual perspective. So we see things from the eyes of duality. And duality is not bad. We've just, I feel like, been using it kind of incorrectly because duality, from my perspective, is supposed to be more like a way for us to know ourselves. It's a tool. It's like a compass or a crossroads in life where it's like a crossroads for every person to figure out, who am I? And the reason for this is because pretty much all of life can be divided up into this dual aspect. Like feelings, happy versus sad or angry, being calm and at peace versus nervous, anxious. Or it can be like perfectionist versus imperfect, or being free versus being controlled or controlling, things like that. So everything in this world exists to give us abundance, essentially. We can choose whatever we want, and thus we experiment to see what makes us happy in life and who are we based on what makes us happy, what makes us feel nice or abundant or filled with love, things like that. So it's a mechanism for us to learn ourselves. Let's say, for instance, like one side likes to plan everything out in advance. So this is what makes them happy, to plan out everything in advance. And thus, it's a way for them to know themselves, that they're a planner. And then the other people on the other side, they don't like to plan things out at all. They like to be spontaneous and do things on a whim. But that's what makes them happy in life, and that's who they identify as. The shadow, though, is created when you identify yourselves on one side or the other, and then you judge the other side. When really no one's bad, no one's negative. Like, everyone's just finding out who they are. But because we judge the other side, this is what creates the shadow in life. Also, ignoring the other side can also create a shadow, because the whole point of this world, this reality, in a sense, is to learn oneness at the end. Oneness, light, unconditional love. That is essentially all we are doing in this world. However, to judge things as bad, to ignore the other side or the other perspective, to say it's negative, this goes against oneness or unconditional love in a sense, and thus the shadow is created. And that is why we need to do shadow work, in order to bring us closer to a state of oneness. Because oftentimes, the more we judge, ignore, and believe something to be negative, the more bigger the shadow grows, and the more it becomes like a monster in a sense. And at that point, like, we can no longer ignore it because it's wreaking havoc on life, on society, things like that. And in order to find peace and happiness, we need to all do shadow work essentially. So yeah, that's what I will be teaching you in this video. And the concept is very easy once you get a hang of it. It's just sometimes it takes a lot of work because there are many things within our world that we automatically deem as negative by society. But this is all that is creating the shadow in this world and within our own personal lives. So you can never outrun your shadow. Your shadow is you technically, but all the judging, the ignoring, trying to run away, believing it's negative, it's gonna cause this shadow to grow bigger and bigger. And this is gonna pop up as patterns within your life, whether it be maybe you always burn out, or you keep attracting the same type of people, or people do the same type of actions towards you. Patterns like that. It's not gonna be like a random negative person. You know, those things, there's always meaning within it, but the shadow is going to be more like a cyclical pattern that keeps occurring in your life. So that's like one easy way to identify it. So whenever we do shadow work, we cannot run away from it. We have to face it. We cannot try to ignore reality. We must face it. And for me, I find it much easier to recognize the shadow when it comes to actually seeing reality. To see what in reality gives me like a negative feeling or something I don't like that keeps persisting, then I try to see like what about this person I don't like, or what about that situation that bothers me. And then that helps me analyze what the shadow within me is. Because all of reality is a mirror. What exists in your outer reality is a reflection of what is inside of you, the beliefs you have. So it's a helpful tool to use. So for instance, let's say you keep manifesting people who yell at you, are very angry at you, things like that. And they're angry at you for very odd reasons. Sometimes that can be the case. What it usually means is you believe the anger within yourself is bad. You judge yourself for your own anger. You block anger. You try to ignore the anger living inside of you. That is usually the shadow. So it's kind of like that. You just see what comes out in reality, what pattern persists and cycles, and then you reflect it back at you and you see what within yourself you are judging, and that is anger. So how do you heal this? So instead of judging yourself, see the shadow and accept it. So in the case of the example, you would see that there is anger within you, and then you accept it. Like, you be more understanding towards yourself. It's like, oh yes, I feel anger, and that's okay. Oh, I see that I'm feeling angry right now. And then, yeah, that's it. You accept that there is anger within you. You let yourself feel the anger. You stop telling yourself it's bad, or to ignore the anger, or believe anger is negative. Some people, you might think, like, in the case of oneness, like, why would anyone choose anger? But some people like to be a little bit more angry. I don't know. Have you ever seen the people who react and they're very angry towards things other people do, and their video is just very angry feeling, but it's funny, and it's kind of it's funny and it's kind of relieving to see someone who is just like being their angry selves. Like it's we need people like that. And these people are perfect just the way they are. And yeah, the reason the seeing and the accepting is important is because this is how you unconditionally love yourself. And thus the shadow in your life will start to dissipate and get smaller because it's been seen and accepted. It doesn't need to be like, see me. Because before, maybe you were running away from it, and thus the shadow is trying to grow bigger and bigger in your life in order to be seen, in order to be loved, essentially, because that's all you truly want in life is to be loved. And the shadow is the same because the shadow is you, it is a part of you. So yes, seeing and accepting the shadow is going to help it dissipate, and you will see the shadow is not really a shadow. It was the light all along, like it was oneness. But yeah, doing shadow work is essentially how you unconditionally love yourself. And sometimes, it takes being with someone else who unconditionally loves us, or like meeting different people who unconditionally love us in different ways in order to heal these shadows or wounds within ourselves, the ways we judge ourselves, or the ways we believe ourselves to be negative or bad. But you can do this to yourself at any moment by just seeing and accepting the part of you that you thought was bad or negative or unworthy to be seen, or you never wanted for others to see it. Nothing in this world is truly like bad. Like the good and the bad doesn't really exist, it just all is. But it's about seeing it. But yeah, I will try to create more videos on how to do this in a more specific way because there's just so many shadows that we think are not shadows, but they technically are. And it's keeping us from unconditionally loving ourselves and being our true selves. Because if you hide, ignore, and judge parts of yourself to be bad, then you are never being your whole true self or living this life that you are truly supposed to be living. Like living life to the max. That's what you planned out to do. But we are keeping ourselves back. We are living as kind of like incomplete selves because we think so much of ourselves is negative or bad when it's really not. It's all just a part of you. So here are a few examples of things I've worked through, but sometimes I would attract kind of, I don't know what you call it, more controlling type of people. And I always thought like to give someone freedom or like free will was unconditional love. But to deny the controlling aspects of life or the controlling aspects of someone is not unconditional love, and thus you attract it because it is a shadow that I did not love, that I did not accept. And I guess I should talk about this, but like some people's shadows, they will have to work through because it is themselves, like their true selves that they are denying. But in other people, like your kind of like lesson in life or the curriculum of life is more tied not to you in particular, but to oneness. Because in the grand scheme of things, you are also the universe. And some people just have a harder curriculum in life, and thus harder lessons. I don't really like the word lessons, but they're like just more difficult themes than other people that they need to learn. But yes, sometimes you gotta love everything in life. And this is why shadow work can be kind of difficult for people. But yeah, you gotta, in order to learn unconditional love, you must love everything, because that is unconditional love. Or not love, because love can be kind of a difficult word to use when someone is going through something very negative feeling. But yeah, see and accept. You must see and accept everything, I suppose. Or whatever is part of your curriculum. So I also had a fear of fear. And yeah, that was something I had to work through, but fear is not bad. Fear is not negative. And I had to see and accept that part of myself. And also, like, the fear of being wrong, the aspect of me that can be wrong, I had to see and accept that part within myself too. Because I was trying to run away from it. I didn't want to be wrong. So, yeah, that was another shadow I had to work through. And then mistrust within myself, particularly mistrust of my own desires. That was a shadow side. Like, for some reason, I thought it was wrong to desire stuff. Eventually, I saw that that was a shadow, and I learned to see and accept it. But yeah, seeing and accepting it, for the most part, is easy. I feel like you just see and accept it. It's like a feeling. It's like, oh yeah, I do mistrust myself. Oh yeah. And that's it. Like, that's really all you need to do. And then another shadow I realized I was doing was I thought running away from love or being an avoidant. I thought running away from love or being an avoidant in love was bad or negative, and thus I kept persisting that loop. And something I realized was, like, this being a shadow perpetuates a cycle of one-sided love. Like, you live in a world of one-sided love. And once you see and accept this shadow, all you realize is there is only love everywhere. You can only be loved and love. Like, there's only mutual love that exists. And you are completely surrounded by love everywhere. It's just when you live in a world of one-sided love, you can't see that. But healing your shadow helps you get out of that world. And that's also something else I realized. I might talk about it more in a future video. I'll explain it. But yeah, that was a really big shadow I had to work through. But on the other side, it's very beautiful. There's only one love in this world, and that is unconditional love. And it is self-love. Like, to love yourself is to unconditionally love yourself, and that is all you need to do in life. And that is, like, the basis of shadow work. And something I've experienced after doing shadow work, a bunch of shadow work in such a short period of time, is that you get into this weird state in which, I don't know, it feels like you are dunked in the ocean and it is all empty and it is an abyss. There's no fish anywhere and you are all alone in the ocean. It kind of feels like that. It's like you become so aware of the void in this universe. And I thought about it, like, why this happens. And I believe it's because, like, I think it's in Kabbalah where they say, like, when you accept what is negative in your life, you expand your vessel. And that is what you are doing. To unconditionally love yourself and your shadow, you are expanding this vessel within you. And thus, when you expand the vessel, you realize, like, the emptiness of the space that you occupy in the universe, I guess. It's space that hasn't been filled yet with anything. So it's a void space. And this can feel quite existential. I felt very existential. And the way I got out of this is to just bring all that energy that is in that space, empty space, and bring it back towards you. Like, bring it back and then focus on you as a human being, as a person. And I got out of that super fast. I guess in like normal terms, it would be like, do not focus on anybody else in your life at that moment, or like don't focus on the outer world, and just like only focus on yourself in that moment. I don't know, like you just be human again. Like that is the most important thing, to be human. After doing shadow work, you definitely get into an energy in which you feel more love within your world, within life. And yeah, that's why I highly recommend it for people to do. But yeah, I think that is it for today's video. I hope that was helpful. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.